Hello everyone, for this week's video game history, I played Atari's version of Star Wars. Atari released two versions of the game. One was for home consoles, which is the version I played the most. We'll get to that. And then the other one was an arcade game. Now, the arcade game is an extremely fun game. It uses early 3D geometry, which is impressive for the time. It came out the year of the video game crash. I was thinking of Star Wars, but it came out the year that the gaming market crashed. And while the arcade game is extremely fun, like it holds up. It's a fun game. It's a fun experience. I can't say the same for the home console version, which is very unfortunate because I honestly think that given some more polish, they could have done it. I've played some fun Atari games this past week, and this just wasn't one of them. So we're gonna go into the history now. So this was honestly one of the earlier forays into gaming that Star Wars takes. Nowadays, Star Wars is almost a gaming franchise in of itself, with games like Star Wars Battlefront, The Force Unleashed, Jedi Fallen Order series. Star Wars is almost synonymous with gaming for me. So I chose to do this because of that. And this was honestly one of the first Star Wars games. The arcade game is actually pretty impressive. It has some fun 8-bit versions of classic Star Wars tracks. It has voices. Like, you can hear Mark Hamill's Luke Skywalker saying Red 5, standing by. You can hear Han Solo doing the Yahoo! You're all clear, kid. Let's go home. You can hear all these like really fun Star Wars references. And as a Star Wars fan, it's really fun to hear. You can hear Ben Kenobi in your voice saying, "Use the Force, Luke." It's great. It's a fun experience. Like, playing the arcade game is fun. It's I can see the hype around it. It's a fun game. As far as gameplay, both versions have similar gameplay. There's a phase 1, which is you flying to the Death Star, which is kind of like a dogfight. In that mode, you have to shoot TIE fighters, and you can shoot these energy blasts that fire your way. It's much easier to tell that they're supposed to be energy blasts in the arcade version, because in the arcade version, you can see that. In the actual like home console release, I thought they were asteroids because I played that first, because that was the easiest port to find to play online, and it wasn't the fun experience. Unfortunately, I didn't have any fun playing the home release version. This firmly goes into the shareware category that led to the unfortunate crash that happened that year in 1983. This was so in phase 1, Luke Skywalker flying towards the Death Star. So phase 2 honestly confused me when I first played it, because it didn't make too much sense. Because I played the home release version first. In that version, there are these white pillars that are, I guess, shooting at you, and you're supposed to shoot them, maybe? I wasn't really sure what was going on. In the arcade version, it is much, much more clear what's happening. You're flying over the surface of the Death Star, and these are turrets that are firing at you. It made so much more sense playing the arcade version, but honestly, it was just a disorienting mess to play phase 2 in that version. Then you go to phase 3, I believe was what this would be. And in phase 3, I got this one immediately. And this was honestly the funnest part of the game. If the whole game was just this, it wouldn't be worth your time, at least for the home release version, but it would still at least be fun. In this, phase 3 is just the iconic trench run scene. And in the trench run scene, you have to avoid barriers sometimes, energy blasts that are fired at you from turrets, and then ultimately you have to try to shoot the hole to blow up the Death Star. And if you blow up the Death Star, you see the Death Star blow up, it gives you some fun music, and then it starts over. There's no real continuity, there's no game over. Game over is when you die. It just starts over, and the goal is to get a high score. Because it is an arcade game, and that makes sense. It's fun. This isn't a story-driven game, of course. If you know the story of Star Wars, then you know the story of this game. But I would hesitate to call this a story. It's just the action of the scene that it's not really tense in any way until you get to some of the later phases, which is when it just loops around. Do not ever force yourself to play the Atari 2600 version, which is the home console release. That release, I had a headache after I played it. I didn't enjoy it so much that when I recorded gameplay for the arcade version, I honestly just had to stop playing even that because my headache hurt so much that I couldn't keep going. I honestly get if most of the games that were released for home console at the time were like the home release for the Star Wars arcade game, then there's a reason why the video game market crashed in 1983 and Nintendo rose to power, which is what we'll go into next week. Anyway, thank you for watching my video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I will be doing these every week, of course. See you.